The New Zealand election is on the 14th of October, but how will the election impact the property market? I'm Ed, an economist here at Opes Partners, and this is Property Now. Kiwis tend to buy about 12% fewer properties before an election compared to after. So before the election, you typically see Kiwis buy about 6% fewer properties than average. Then 3 months after the election, the numbers start to turn around and we see a spike. Up to about 6 to 12 months after election, we see 6 to 7% more properties sold compared to that average again. The dip in property sales starts about 10 months before an election and continues right up to election day. This analysis includes data from 9 elections between 1993 and 2017. I've cut out the 2020 election because the post-COVID boom makes it a bit of an outlier. The impact on this year's election won't be anything like 2020, but it could be a bit like the 2008 election. Back in 2008, the New Zealand economy was in recession. Property prices were falling and nobody thought it was a good idea to buy property at that time. Sounds a lot like today. So how did that election in 2008 impact the property market? Well, 12 months out, the market was still running hot. Up to 30% more properties were selling compared to average. But then things really took a turn as the economy soured and the property market started falling. Up to 30% fewer properties were selling than average. That continued up to the election day. But then 3 months after the election, things really started to change. The property market recovered and up to 20% more properties were selling than the average. And that leads to the question, why? Why do fewer properties sell before the election compared to after? The average punter on the street doesn't want to buy property before an election because buying a property is a massive financial decision and elections create uncertainty. You don't really know which direction the country is going to go in. And from working with a lot of investors here at Opes Partners, we know that property buyers hesitate at the slightest uncertainty. But once the election results sink in, confidence grows, people become more comfortable with the new government's policies, and at least they understand which direction is the country going to go in. It almost doesn't matter who the government is. We actually see property sales increase, whether it's a Labour government or a national government coming in after the election. Now, what's really interesting though is property volumes. The number of property sales really take off if a national government comes in. Look how they're subdued before the election. Once national comes in, they really start to take off. So if we do get a change in government after the next election, the data suggests property sales will increase. Though it is important to mention that although we're looking at 27 years worth of data, that is only 9 elections, 5 that national one, 4 that Labour one. So it is a small sample size, but that difference is really convincing. So we know what's going to happen with the number of property sales, but what about property prices? Surprisingly, the election itself doesn't actually seem to have a significant impact on property prices. So over time, property prices generally increase about 6 to 7% a year. So it's not surprising that 12 months before an election, property prices are 6 to 7% below average. And then 12 months after the election, property prices are about 6 to 7% higher than the average. The key takeaway here is that we don't actually see a dip in property prices right before the election, even though we see fewer properties being sold. And if you enjoy learning about property in this data-based way, hit the subscribe button. We release new videos every Monday and Wednesday. So what are the opportunities for property buyers and investors? Without a doubt, more buyers will be looking to invest or make a purchase after the election compared to before the election. That means there will be more competition if you're looking to buy a property in 3 to 6 months compared to if you're looking today. That does mean it will be harder to find a property that fits your needs after the election compared to before. Now, the data suggests that that is especially going to be the case if we see a change in government and national takes power. And although on average property prices don't dip right before the election, you may be able to use that quieter market to negotiate a better price or find a good deal. And if you want help doing that, check out our website, opespartners.co.nz. We help regular Kiwis grow their wealth through new built investment properties.